Hey, hi, how are you? My name is Felt. Welcome back to some Magic the Gathering Arena Historic Brawl. Today we're doing the OG Atraxa Praetor's voice as our commander. Personally, I find this Atraxa to be a lot more fun and interactive than the newer Atraxa. The newer Atraxa is just kind of, I play my commander, I get a bunch of cards in hand, which is fine, you know, like commander as a card draw engine is nothing super unusual, but I just prefer this Atraxa, and we're kind of playing it as a hardcore proliferate with a dash of super friends. What do I mean by that? Hardcore proliferate, we have mana rocks like Astral Cornucopia, which proliferate really fast. We have some cards like Progenitor Exarch, which make incubator tokens. We run Sunfall as one of our board wipes. We run, where is it? Found it. Broker's Ascendancy to put +1/+1 counters on everything. But then on top of that, we run the classic actual Super Friends type package with like Archangel Elspeth. That's hard to say. Jace, Tekuthal to do more proliferation, Kaya, Teferi, other Kaya, Nissa, Vraska, Liliana. We are using some battles in here. We're currently using Invasion of Fiora as our board wipe, which can actually be one-sided if your opponent has all legendary or all non-legendary creatures. You can choose both those, so you can just destroy all creatures that way. It's pretty nice, and then the thing it flips into is effectively just a Phyrexian arena, which is pretty sick. But overall, this deck's quite fun. I've had a lot of fun toying around with it. It's obviously incredibly high-powered because, well, let's be real, this Atraxa is incredibly high-powered. If you're allowed to keep Atraxa on board and have anything that proliferates well, you will probably pop off and just own the game as a result, because if you can land Atraxa and then, like, even one Planeswalker, like Kaya here, you're drawing cards every turn. This Kaya, you're probably able to exile stuff every other turn. With Azuri, you're in step, you draw a card. It can be incredibly powerful. And we do have, like, two ways of applying poison. I mentioned this in my Tekuthal deck. I don't really like poison as my win con in decks like this. I find it to be a little anticlimactic in the 1v1 format. I'm a little more on board with it in 4-person commander, because then it's kind of like a y'all gotta watch out for me moment, and you can make yourself the archenemy. In a fun way. But we do have a couple of ways of applying it with stuff like Prologue to Pheresis, Mere Convert, and technically speaking, Vraska's Ultimate does the same. Either way, this deck's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun toying around with it. Its mana base is obviously work in progress. All of the cards will be in the description below. Hopefully you get to toy it with something similar to this. Or you've maybe just made your own better version of Atraxa that'll put mine to shame. Either way, let's hop right into some matches. We are going first with what I consider to be a pretty wonderful hand. 2 different types of removal, as well as Kaya. We'll dig on it. We'll dig on it. Looks like we are playing into Edgar Charmed Groom, which makes Swords to Plowshares even better. We will let this enter tapped. So now we have blue and white mana. Interesting that they're going for a Johnny's Welcome. Man Tower. We might play Glistening Dawn on curve, or we might just try and play Atraxa on curve. My bet is that if I play Atraxa on curve, they'll just slam removal. We will find out. We could have Void Rended the Arcane Signet, but I find that to be kind of a rude move. Counterspelling it, fine. Void Rending it, toxic. Speaking of toxic, bye-bye. I think we go for Atraxa to get out their removal. Which sounds very strange to say out loud. You mean, like, what do you mean get out their removal? There is a very low odds that my opponent is not running removal out the wazoo in a deck like that. Case in point, if you run into someone playing in Orzhov colors, they are playing removal out the wazoo. In our case, this actually works out really well, because now we can play, like, Kaya here. So I think we will play this Kaya first. Yeah, see, like this exact instance, our Kaya is now safer. We got out something that destroys Planeswalkers. It's a weird balancing act IMO when you're playing Atraxa, because there's lots of different problems, so to speak, that people can play out in response to just Atraxa's existence. But sometimes you're just...
Defeating you will not bring me pleasure, nor pain.
Right. Opponent?
Calls to your soul.
That's an unfortunate one. We can probably just Void Rend it, though. I was thinking, do I just like Heartless Act this? Nah, I can't. Ooh, yay, my opponent has a tapped land, which means we get another turn, which means we can probably play Atraxa again after this. Assuming my opponent doesn't have access to something crazy. Oh, really? Y'all have a removal spell over there? That's so rude. My Kai is just trying to live her best life. Alright, that's fine. We will go ahead and do that. And we will go ahead and do this. Ah, speaking of rude removal, we do that too over here. I think we go for it. Ooh, we got so lucky. Ooh, we got so lucky. They did not, if they had removal, it was not instant speed, meaning Atraxa now has a ghost form counter on her. Woo! Oh, okay, I was about to say, opponent? That's gonna get exiled. Well, no, they were just saying, yeah, I have nothing else, here's my concession. GG's. GG's opponent. I got pretty lucky with my double removals. Well, technically triple removal suite. Double removal off the start with the mana to play it is really sick in this deck. We didn't even get to play our cooler proliferation cards. Like Glistening Dawn is super sick because you can just leave the artifacts alone and just let them slowly grow and then flip them at instant speed to surprise ambush people. I cannot wait to toy around with Incubate more. Random tidbit. Either ways, on to the next. We have all of our colors through Command Tab. We also just have good lands. Experimental Augury for seeking stuff. Fatal Push for removal. Looks like we were playing into Shauna Purifying Blade. This could go one of two ways. This could be full control Shauna, which is a deck that I've played and played into several times. Or this could be go wide tokens +1/+1 counters Shauna. Unfortunately, we cannot Fatal Push the Shauna if they come in on curve here, but we can just play Mirror Convert and get out Atraxa on curve. Ooh, looks like they're coming in tapped. That might be a counterspell over there. We might want to play around it. I'm going to get a head start on poisoning out my opponent, because I feel like this is the type of game where I just want to get a head start on that. And then we will play a threat, which will probably get out their counter spell? No? You have a poison counter. Why would you not take care of my thing that proliferates? What do I know? It could just be a wash away, and so they can't actually counter what I have. We'll risk the Wandering Emperor. I play too much Standard, if you can't tell. Listen, if my opponent just lets himself get proliferated to death, I guess we take a Johnny here. We just play Atraxa now. We are now putting massive pressure on them to, yep, to do stuff like that. We are putting massive pressure on them in order to, take out my anything and everything. We play a Johnny for card advantage. Card advantage and card knowledge is really nice.
For all of you. Every day.
And my opponent's gone, because this Atraxa, I mentioned this in the intro, you're witnessing it. This is why I often don't poison my opponents with Atraxa. It gives me 2.5 minute long games. Either way, GG's opponent, on to the next. Opponent goes first. We have a really, really good color fixing. I kind of want to keep this. This is incredibly risky. If I do not draw a third land, we will name black so that we can play Binding. If we do not draw a third land, this is very scary. Okay, so they're probably just like full value Lear based off playing Deliberate on their turn. If that had been an untapped land, I could have played Binding on curve. Alas, we might just settle for ramping with Mere Convert here. Gonna have to. Bounce spell? Or maybe draw card spell. Or maybe counter spell? I don't know. It's Leer. Leer is a spells deck. You can't imagine they'll let Mere Converts stay on the battlefield, though. Yeah, like, nobody lets Mere Converts stay on the battlefield. Sword of Once and Future is kind of trash in this exact matchup. It's technically pro-blue, but it's trash because it's too slow, and I've already missed a land drop, as you can see. Not miss that one, though. I think we just play Mere Convert again. I can't, see, here's the weird thing. I can't imagine they're actually playing counter spells with Leer. Leer makes spells uncounterable. Spells can't be countered. That is just the first line of text on Leer. Ooh. Speaking of uncounterable, that made my binding uncounterable. But because of that, it typically means Leers will just grind value. Just grind it. I am whiffing so hard. Grab the Sparrow's headquarters. And we will play D-Spark. And we'll give him a poison counter. I know, I've said you do, Feld, you don't like poison counters. Leer's a tough matchup, okay? Leer draws a lot of cards. Leer draws a lot of cards. Weird. Let's try and play Elspeth's Nightmare. So they have creature interaction. You can tell by the way that, like, priority is sticking when stuff's on the field. This is obviously just like Magic the Arena random talk. I don't think blue will really have a... That just confused the hell out of me. We're gonna go looking in their hand now. What do they have? Bounce something. Bounce several somethings. We're gonna take care of that. We're gonna use this. And we're just gonna do it immediately so we can just slam Teferi. That's some value, baby.
You know what? I'm not done.
Unfortunate. Untap 2 lands, we will pretend like we have counter magic. We don't, but we can pretend. Dimmy Lich. Spicy. They can't really do anything else, though. I can see their hand. We can activate Planeswalker's loyalty abilities twice rather than once this turn. And I do believe that only applies to ones on the field. Does that hit? It's target creature or enchantment, yeah. That don't do squat. I do believe it's only ones on the field, though, which means we can do that. Get tucked. And I think we will now play Varaska. Go untap. We need lands. So we need land. We can't find lands. Oh, it is all planeswalkers. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how every spell in this game works. Once again, we will untap those. We will discard those. We can't really do, our hand is overflowing with value. I don't think my opponent can actually play anything that does anything right now. The best they can do is play their Leer, but they have nothing in their graveyard, so Leer is literally just a 3/4 beater. Because of that, I'm just gonna do this. Do this.
Keep up the pace.
Okay, we can kill Leer next turn. Sword of Forge and Frontier doesn't do anything right now. So my opponent can bounce this, but all my Planeswalkers have like 7+ loyalty right now, so it is very difficult for them to take care of any and all of that. They can play like Mind Flayer. Yeah, Stern Dismissal's not really a bad idea. We're gonna kill Leer after this, though, to make that be kind of worthless. We just kind of have so much value right now. To be fair, if I was them, can't they, like... into the Royal onto Fairy. Not a terrible idea, but I am just going to turn your Leer into a treasure token now. Unfortunately, I literally cannot play Atraxa. I do not have protection. Atraxa is now a spectator. And because it was tapped, they can't sack it already, which is really nice.
I know, Myrus. We need to move quickly.
And my opponent has realized that the value engine has no breaks. I don't really play creatures other than Atraxa in this deck, and it will be very, very hard for them to control multiple planeswalkers constantly plussing and proliferating even without Atraxa on board. Exiling their library, or their graveyard, by the way. Amazing. Highly recommend, if you don't have a copy of Elspeth's Nightmare crafted, and you play, like, higher-end commanders that often hit, like, not like Hell Q, but, like, higher-end commanders, like A to B tier stuff. Oh, A to S tier stuff, not necessarily Hell Q. Get a copy of Elspeth's Nightmare. It kills Mana Dorks, it kills Esper Sentinels, it has Hand Hate built in, and then it exiles their graveyard, so for people who like to have recursive threats, Elspeth's Nightmare, so good. So good. Anyways, GG's opponent, you did play well, but I just played differently than you expected, I guess. On to the next. Alright, we are apparently playing The Future Is Now, Old Man, aka the newer version of my card. Interesting. We do have almost all of our colors. We're missing white mana, but we have Binding of the Old Gods to make sure we can hit it. Play this. I don't actually have a way to kill that until we play Binding itself. No, you're not playing that card. Thank you, come again. I don't want you to play something with Toxic, or with, like, gives me free poison counters.png. Do we play Evolution Sage just to, like, try and bait something out of them? I think we might. You might be like, bait something out of them. I talk like this all the time. I just mean that some cards are scarier in certain decks, and often it will prompt a response from your opponent, typically some form of removal spell. Now, they might just do this. Bring that back from the graveyard to their hand. We're just going to blow it up. We have Binding of the Old Gods. We will make them keep paying. We could just blow up the Canker Bloom. Nah, we blow up the Skull Piercer now. We make them sack the Canker Bloom. We make them think about their actions. Unfortunately, this is a tapped land. Very sad. We will probably name blue on it. Man, are you really just like Atraxa poison? That's kind of weird, dude. I'm not gonna lie. No shot they didn't just destroy my binding. Why didn't they destroy my binding? That was free real estate. Alright, well there's that. We will let them get a card, but we will not let them bring anything else back from the graveyard here. We will name black on this. We have double black because we already have double blue. This will give us double white. We have double green. Naming black gives us double black, so we'll have 2 of each mana color, essentially. And then we will potentially be able to play Liliana. And depending on what our opponent plays, might just be play and minus. They still don't have white mana, but for some reason here. If they do have a... Do we think they have a counterspell? We will just name green. I think if they do, we're going to make them have it. Alright, well. Maybe they have a removal spell? Or are they just going to sack Canker Bloom to proliferate?
Rise and shine.
My opponent still doesn't have white mana, so they still can't play their commander yet. They're playing a lot of basics. And they conceded. I don't quite know what happened there. Maybe all the cards in their hand required white mana and they weren't hitting it. Maybe Liliana was going to provide too much value by just plussing over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe they didn't have removal for Atraxa when it was about to come down to make Liliana plus forever. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen this Liliana's Ultimate, this includes lands. Found that out the other day. I didn't actually have that piece of knowledge, like, click in my head. This includes lands. Lands are a permanent. I used it against a first sliver good stuff deck. They got one land, the first sliver, and nothing else at the end of it. It was quite funny. GG's opponent, don't quite know what happened on your end, but all the best. Hope you don't get mana screwed next time. Remember last game where I said I hadn't seen people playing Atali? Well, I guess the queue realized that I was just desperately in need of Atali. We have really good mana here. This is kind of a dead draw at the moment. The bring the ending, but it'll eventually become playable. Okay, that counterspell is absolutely a dead draw. Play something I can fatal push. I didn't mean literally, but thank you. I think we're gonna do this, because now we can play Atraxa, and we also have up our counterspells. Or my opponent is going to concede. Okay. We have almost all our mana, and we are playing Atali Primal Conqueror. Kind of a scary matchup. They go first. I think we keep this hand here. This is kind of a sketchy one. I think we name black on this Thriving Isle. And then maybe we can, like, kill the Atali. Although I think this takes 4 mana with double black in it. I could be wrong. Regardless, it does allow us to play Contentious Plan on turn 2 if we play it first, and naming black means that if my opponent plays some type of mana dork that I want to get rid of, this hits. For those of you who haven't seen Atali yet, Atali Primal Conqueror is basically old Atali, but you can transform it into a Blightsteel Colossus. Absolutely naming black on this now, because we got this, meaning we have green mana now. Yeah, it's a pretty cool card. It's a 7 mana, you know, dinosaur on a stick. For 9 and 2 life, or 10 total mana, it'll transform. Maze Mind Tome. Not exactly what I was expecting from an Atali deck, but I guess they could, like, scry the right thing to the top with their trigger, because they're exile a non-land card and you may cast any number of spells among the non-land cards without paying their mana costs. It might just be like a I will scry the right things to the top type thing. Yeah, I was gonna say, could you just, like, have done that? You don't have any other things. Just let me take my turn, please. Thank you. I want to do this. We're gonna go hunting for something cool. We could actually put a counter on that, by the way, because that gives them less chances to scry. That's one of those really weird situational things that I don't always do, but, like, you can do. Ooh, Wash Away. Gonna play Evolution Sage. It might get blown up by something. They might have, like, a burn spell in hand, and that's fine. Yeah, a Braid's fine. A Braid means our Great Hinge is a little safer. I am kind of sad. It doesn't look like I'll be able to do a lot of what I want to do on curve here. Hero. On the plus side, we will have Wash Away. By the way, this isn't into the battlefield thing, so countering Atali is very important if you're playing into them. Countering Atali can be very important because the trigger doesn't go on the stack until they are actually on the field. What is a 3-drop? This only hits 2 drops. That's really unfortunate. On the plus side, we do get to counter Atali immediately anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they do have the mana. So if I draw black, I think I just kill Sylvala. I can't, can I? Because it's... Yeah, that's what I thought. I can't do it because you need to play black. We can Wash Away, though. And we do have D-Spark in case they just decide to play something else instead of Atali. But I think the smart play here is probably just play Atali. Oh, no, wait, they're a mana shy. Right, it requires a mana to tap for that. Omen of the Hunt. Not what I was expecting. Not many people play this Omen. I see a lot of the blue and the white Omen. The ones that scry cards and create little soldiers and gain you life. See those a lot. Don't really see Omen of the Hunt very often. I wonder if we'll be able to play Teferi here. We can play Noin's Inquisitor. We're getting pretty unlucky. We are getting incredibly unlucky here. We are not hitting our land drops, and we missed, like, the right colors. So they're probably going to try and play their commander here. I can't imagine that there's a world where they don't just try and play their commander here. It's the smartest play. Okay, smartest is... I don't know all of the cards in their hand. But, like, it's probably the smartest play because it gives them free stuff. Anyways, it's counterspelled now. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to do that again. I don't think I'll be able to do much of anything again. I'm getting incredibly unlucky here. They have more than enough mana to cast it again, I believe. Especially with Castle Garenbrick, because that gives you 6 mana by its lonesome. This is probably... Yeah, this is probably going to be, like, a hard loss here. I, like, just physically cannot find anything that I need. I'll stick this out because I want to see what Atali can do. I don't think I've gotten a chance to see anybody play it in the queue yet. I can technically despark it on my next turn. Hopefully they hit something terrible. I guess they're just trying to be really mana efficient over there. I mean, I can't fault them. Wait, are they scared of another counterspell? They might be scared of another counterspell. I can exile that with a despark, by the way. Maybe if I draw another black mana, I can just use Liliana to make them sack 2. Oh, that's not the right play, though, is it? We can play Teferi and tuck away the Selvala, but once again, I don't know if that's the right play. I'm really surprised they didn't just slam Atali there. I might be the odd one out, but when it comes to playing decks that I feel like could have controlling elements to them, I will often just hard slam my big stuff that needs to get countered. You know? And this is just non-9 permanent, yeah? Alright, so we will flip this. That is mana value 4 or greater. This does flip as a 3/3, which is nice. I can't... I do not believe that, killing Selvala will take away enough mana from them. They are terrified that I have a counterspell. Oh my goodness, that's absolutely what it was. They got countered once by Washaway, which I'm not going to lie, if you're playing blue is kind of an auto-include, and then just like hard panicked the rest of the way to the market. And we're like, oh god, they're going to counterspell me. Fun fact. I can just do that. If they have a snakeskin veil, oh my god, they do! Wow! That is like the absolute most terrified I think I have ever seen a player in this game before. They kept double protection for their commander. Holy cow. That is insane. They kept double protection for their commander. Can I find a board wipe? Alright, I would have paid to buy a board wipe there. Alright, instead I'll just kill Atali. One of those, like, technically the right plays. I don't believe they can play it again. I don't think they have enough mana. Oh, no, they probably do, actually. Man. Man, I don't know if I've ever seen someone so scared of counterspells in my life as this person. Because holy cow, they are just terrified of counterspells. How funny would it be that they, like, play their commander and then I just tuck it away with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria? That'd be funny, right? I mean, I think I just straight up lose here unless they got a Flux Chandler. And a Lithoform Engine. Wow. Alright. So my opponent is literally just Combo Gamer the Gamer. I don't think I can do anything here. I think I am just like, I think I just straight up lose here. I don't think there is anything I can do unless I draw a board wipe. I think the only thing I can do is pray for a board wipe, otherwise I just straight up immediately lose to Atali. And I did not. Alright, Teferi, tell me, would I have drawn a board wipe? Just tell me, would I have drawn one? Would I have gotten there?
Let's skip to the good part.
No, I would not. Alright, well, GG's opponent. I guess you're carrying 3 counter pieces of magic in green paid off for you. That was... I'm not gonna lie, I was actually expecting something a little cooler than a Hornet Queen and my Arcane Signet. I was expecting them to yoink one of my Planeswalkers. They got really unlucky on my hits. The Lithoform Engine was gonna win, no matter what happened. Even if they didn't have enough mana to flip this and immediately kill me with poison damage, they had Lithoform Engine, they were gonna win. That's just unfortunate. They just actually just waited until they had the exact perfect things. But honestly, like, no offense to the player, like, they played it correctly. They did the right thing. But I don't know if I've ever seen someone so scared of counterspells in my life. It was kind of funny. But GG's opponent, you did beat my ass. Let's hop on to the next one. We are on the play. We're playing another Gruul commander, but this is Nikia of the Old Ways, which says they can't cast non-creatures. And when they tap a land for mana, they add 1 mana of a type that thing would produce. We are just going to hope that we draw a 3rd land along the way here, so we can just ramp, and then maybe just board wipe with Sunfall. Unfortunately, Sword of Once and Future doesn't help us in the slightest here. Not at all. We will play this, and then I think we will play Cankerbloom, just so it can sit on board and be an actual threat to my opponent. It can blow up any form of ramp they try and play. If an opponent activates an ability of a creature or land that isn't a mana ability, you draw a card. Okay. We're just going to play Atraxa now and just have a big ol' life-linking Death Toucher up in the sky. We might play the sword and equip it to something. Husky. Interesting. Do we Sunfall this? We might just straight up Sunfall this. We'll play this on black mana. It's kind of a weird choice to Sunfall this, but this really sets them back. And it gives me a 5/5 to play in the future, which I'm kind of okay with, TBH. Ah yes, the classic let me manually tap my stuff moment. I mean, they have a 5/5, guys. It's scary. Ooh. Yeah, we have a hidden 5/5. We'll play this. Can we play this and hold up 2 mana? We can. This thing's a little... Oh, wait, never mind. I thought... Okay, that's annoying. That's annoying as hell. This means that they can now play like a billion cards this turn. On the plus side, we do have the 5/5 that will trade for their commander when they have the audacity to think that it's a good idea to attack. A lot of people don't quite know how the incubate tokens work, so a lot of people will just like wildly swing into them when you really should not be doing that. Oh, never mind. They're just going to sack their creature. I'm not going to lie. Of all the permanents I had on board, I don't know if that was the right one. I could technically use the sword to cast something with mana value 2 or less for my graveyard. I don't block Inferno here. Oh, man. I'm just gonna take a nap. This is a joke. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely get bored playing into decks like this because, like, I'm literally just sitting here while they play Solitaire. I mean, like, who am I to complain, right? I have, like, I do the exact same thing sometimes when I am comboing off on big turns, but... I need to do this for 2. And those things are 2 4/4s now. My opponent might just straight up have lethal at this point in time, but I can't tell because my opponent is too much of a coward to actually swing in and fight me. Are they just waiting for their Praetor Hoof Behemoth? Because I'm not gonna lie, that's the most boring shit in the world, and you should actually kind of be disappointed in yourself. Like, I get it. Your Gruul play lots of creatures. You play Praetor Hoof Behemoth. Big, stompy creature. But, like, can I just, like, go take a nap while you do this? I hate having to hit, like, go to next every time. Maybe I can find a removal spell here in a second. Like, this is, I'm like 98% sure they are just hunting for Crater Hoof Behemoth and they don't know what else to do. Just straight up. I think they're just hunting for Crater Hoof Behemoth and don't know what else to do. Like, I'm not gonna, watching someone just play solitaire like that, it's one of those, like, I feel like that's exactly what they're doing. Unfortunately I cannot just tap him to flip stuff. Okay. You did your job. You did it. Are you going to swing now, opponent? Or are you just going to be a little bait? You're going to be a baby. Well, we'll flip one. We have the open mana.
You're all part of the great machine. That is Phyrexia.
We will do that. We will flip this. We'll play this. They're a chump blocker. My now 9/9 will swing, which is a lot of life, by the way. And technically I get to surveil 2 off of this, and if I hit a card with mana value 2 or less, I get to play it. Honestly, those just both gotta go. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect the Gruul player. But I'm also not gonna lie. Watching your opponent play solitaire is pretty boring sometimes. Because that's what they're doing. They are playing solitaire. They're not swinging. The most interaction they did was they sacked enough goblins in order to kill 1 creature. Alright.
Reinforcements are near.
I mean, they might just be pumping their Inferno or the Star Mount in order to trade with Atraxa, but I can just replay Atraxa. And this is a perfectly acceptable trade for me. That means they have no more flyers. And I just replay Atraxa because I have all of this mana. Like, I just replay my commander. Are they gonna blow up my... Oh no, my singular thrumming bird! Ah! Oh, how could I be so stupid? Yeah, this is the type of thing I'm talking about. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. This is the optimal play, but like... It's incredibly boring. Just sitting here, waiting for my opponent to do stuff. Also, we're gonna reattach this. So now Atraxa is back to a 6/6 and bigger than most stuff my opponent has. Ah, Delina, are they going to actually try and play the game now? I mean, we are up to 40 life, though, so that is a little bit scary. I mean, I think they have enough goblins and enough mana to just kill Atraxa by just sacking all their goblins. Nope, they're going to just try and blow up a Johnny. Even though I'm pretty sure they could just blow up Atraxa because the sword is protection from blue and black. I'm pretty sure they've had lethal for like 3 turns now, but I'm not positive, you know, so what do I know? All I know is that I have 3 creatures. And 39 life, and my opponent is doing nothing. I wonder if I could find a board wipe. That'd be cool. If they swing in with everything, they die on the way back. Do it! Do it! Alright, block the biggest piece of damage. Block the next biggest piece of damage. Block the next biggest piece of damage. I don't actually know where this is going to go. All I know is I'm getting 6 more life at the end of it. Alright, it seems to be going to almost lethal is the answer. Oh no, Atraxa, she dies again. Or she doesn't. Yeah, they got hasty and misclicked. Darn, I wish I'd had this a turn before. Oh, well, 8/8 is still pretty good. Yeah, my opponent accidentally misplayed that really terribly. Why do I say really terribly? They could have killed off my Atraxa, and that exact play that just saved the game for me wouldn't have happened. Ah, Defiler of Vigor, you're a turn late. I kill you in the air. Alright, does Delina give them the win? That's literally it. That is the entirety of what is happening right now. Does Delina give them the win? No. The answer is no. Okay, well, we will block... we'll block something okay, hang on. We have to do math. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10... 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 28. That is not lethal, but we will block what we can anyway. That is not lethal. They need to deal 3 damage, which they can't. Yeah, I still had 29 damage at the end there, and I'm going to gain 6 more life off of Atraxa. That should be game now. And now we have a lot of damage. I feel a little bad for my opponent because I think they had me beat at one point. Like, just straight up had me beat at one point. And, just misplayed. They clicked on one of my creatures instead of my Atraxa, and so I got to get back into the game. I feel bad, a little bit for that, but I also don't feel bad because, like I said, I'm sitting there watching them play Solitaire. I had lands in hand, man. I had lands in hand. There was no interaction. You were just playing cards off the top of your deck, man. This whiny game aside, that was actually a really good game of Magic. I can't deny. Like, overall, that was a close back-and-forth game. Atraxa's lifelink pulled me through, getting some good planeswalkers off the top of my deck to make Atraxa bigger to force some trades. I played pretty okay. I probably misplayed here and there, but overall, it was a good game opponent, even if I don't like watching a Gruul player just play 12 creatures a turn. GG's. On to the next. And that's Atraxa. She's pretty powerful. Funny enough, I had the most amount of trouble against the Gruul commanders. Maybe it's just because they're so much faster than Atraxa, and this version of the deck isn't particularly fast to begin with, so that would make sense. Overall, I think Atraxa is insane. Just everyone knows Atraxa's been insane for forever. Atraxa's been insane since release. It's a great card. I cannot imagine that this Atraxa will not end up in Hell Queue at some point. I don't... It's just too powerful, especially if you know, start going for the really powerful cards and only play like a handful of planeswalkers, and instead everything else is just value counterspells and all that type of stuff. But for now, Atraxa seems to be kind of in the A tier queue around the likes of like maybe a Narset or something like that. Runs into some lower tier commanders on the ladder at the moment. However, I cannot imagine she will stay there for long. She is just so unbelievably powerful, just like the other version of her on Arena, which you might notice isn't in the deck. I don't think I mentioned this in the intro. I don't think the other version goes well in this deck because this deck is much more about your curve and then playing Atraxa on curve, more so than getting a bunch of value out simultaneously and then drawing a bunch of value off the top of your deck to refill your hand. This is more about curving out properly via like turn 1 Esper Sentinel or Swords or Bloodchief's Thirst or Fatal Push, then like having maybe Noin's Inquisitors, your Mirror Convert or a Signet down, getting out maybe one of your 3-drop Planeswalkers or one of your Swords or a ramp thing or maybe an enchantment, and then turn 4 slam Atraxa and profit off of that, right? The other Atraxa is much slower than this one. This one feels like she can be a little faster. And honestly, I feel like you could probably go kind of aggro with this Atraxa and just run lots of mana fixing via your lands. Make all of your lands be like some form of like... I don't know if there's a way to do that. I know there's a handful of creatures that make all your lands be all colors and that like you can maybe run the World Treat so that once you hit 6 lands, your mana fixing is perfect, but... my mana base has been working pretty well for me so far. It can sometimes get me in trouble because I have a handful of tapped lands in here. I do actually really recommend the full set of Thriving lands. all of the ones that are in Atraxa's colors, obviously, but they just allow for perfect mana fixing. You can see exactly what you have, and you can choose your second color exactly to see what you need the double color of. Either way, that has been the video. Hope you don't mind my gruel hatred in those last couple of games. Either way, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next one.